We're back, we're live, we're here in ThinkTech Talks. We're here with Morgan Kapololu, did I get that right?
Yes.
And Morgan is the general manager of the Verizon store at the intersection in the Pacific Guardian building, is it?
Yep.
At the intersection of Kapiolani Boulevard and Keamoku Street, right across from the opening there, the entry to Ala Moana Center. And so some people say it's the center of the universe.
That's the center of my universe for sure.
And, this is why do we go there? What's going on there? Well, the answer is that, the Verizon store has changed. It has been remodeled, rebuilt, reorganized, redesigned, reconceived, I would say even. If you've been there before, you know it is the flagship store for Verizon Wireless in the state. But now it's something else. What happened, Morgan?
So our redesign is actually part of a bigger picture. And so recently our Chief Operating Officer announced destination stores. So these destination stores, first one built in the Mall of America, are huge stores built around customers' lifestyles. So those destination stores are meant for customers to be able to go to and experience things like they've never done before with their wireless devices. So for example, in that store, they have a treadmill that you can get on and you can use some of these fitness trackers. They have a bicycle that you can get on that you can ride in the store. They have a mock-up of an airport so that you can feel what it would be like to use some of these products in the airport. Now, unfortunately, we don't have all those things at our store location here.
You get pretty close, though.
Pretty close. But the whole concept is really to focus around customers' lifestyles. And so in that redesign, we're not focused on device selling. We're focused on being able to understand what your lifestyle is and then show you what your smartphone can do to make your life even better. And so that's what that whole redesign is focusing more on your experience and the education of what you can do with your smart devices.
Yeah, I know this. I know the store from before, and it's really been changed completely, and it's been changed in a really smart way. I mean, I call it a kind of museum store because you walk around and it interests you.
Yes.
Morgan has 5 zones, is it?
Correct. Yeah.
And each zone is a different exhibit, so to speak. On a certain kind of subject. And the result is you go around and you can pick your area, you can pick your zone and focus in on that, and you can see the latest and greatest of these things you never ever saw before. That's the thing about this store. There are things there you never saw, that you never even conceived. You say to yourself, my goodness, if I sat down and had a beer, maybe I would think of this. But now they've done it. They've taken the internet one step further. So everyone knows that smartphones have changed our lives and the world, the lives of everyone in the world. But we didn't know exactly how much. This store begins to tell us how much. So we'll go into more of the detail on the zones and all that. But before anybody, has a complex over guessing what these devices are, why don't we tell everybody what's on the table? We have a few minutes for that.
Sure. So as you were talking about things broken down into lifestyles, currently the 4 top lifestyles that we're showing are fitness, home and on the go, having fun, and then also amplify or speakers. So I brought a few things from each of those. So for example, from the fitness, we have things where you'll be able to do wearable technology. And so these allow you to track your activity throughout the day, 24/7, track how many steps, your distance, calories that you've done, and it can sync up wirelessly with your device.
So what happens is that the little gizmo in there, it looks like a wristband, is generating wireless signals to your smartphone, what, Bluetooth or
yes,
Bluetooth to an app on your smartphone, and telling you all that it knows about what you've been doing. It's a little scary,
It's a little scary, but it's also motivating. That's what most people see it for,
okay.
Right? Motivating, because at the same time you set goals for yourself, so you can see how well you're doing throughout the day. And then it also is able to use that to reflect against some of the calories that you log as far as what you've had for the day, what you've consumed, and sleep. So a lot of people are really finding a lot more benefit from finding out what their sleep patterns are, because then you can correlate that with how well you feel throughout the day and maybe even change some of your patterns. Maybe don't watch that scary movie late at night if you notice that your sleep isn't as good the night before.
You must know my lifestyle.
So fitness is really, really a big one, especially as we're going into the holiday season. A lot of times people are setting up their New Year's resolutions. Things like this will help you stay on track and make it easy for you to do that by using your smartphone.
So that's so modern. One of the elements is the sleep thing. I think that medicine has just sort of recently found out that sleep is important to health, and exactly how much sleep you have is going to be, a direct effect on your health. So this helps you intercede there and figure out whether you're in the right zone. That's really important.
Yeah, and then tying it back to things like what your activity levels were that day, what you had and when you had it, so you can see if your diet is infecting not only how you feel, but also how you sleep at night.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. And part about being connected is going wireless. So we're talking about fitness a little while ago. Some of the main things that keep people motivated during the day, especially when you're working out, is being able to do wireless headsets. So in here, just to show you as well, we have a headset that you can wear just around your neck. And it will be a wireless headset so that you can listen to music as you're exercising, as well as being able to answer calls throughout the day too.
So, okay, so this is interesting because it's very small, very light.
Yes.
It's wireless. It looks so small. How could it be wireless? And yet it is wireless. And you can use it everywhere, even in an athletic situation. Yeah.
Yeah, so sweat proof. And then also, I was watching your show just a little while ago. You'll be able to stream that music. You'll be able to listen to it wirelessly as well. So even if you're out on the go, or if you're sitting at your desk and you didn't want everybody to be listening in, that you'd be able to listen to Bluetooth audio, video, music, whatever you're doing.
In your car, what have you.
Yep.
Yeah, can I take a segue on that for a minute?
Yes.
As I told you this morning, ThinkTech is on a campaign to try to make people understand that they're not limited to AM or FM radio, that they can listen to internet radio, and the possibilities are so enormous with internet radio. It's not just ThinkTech.
That's right.
But we like to talk about ThinkTech. And we do video streaming, we do audio streaming also on Spreaker.com. You can get the link from our website, ThinkTechHawaii.com. But we're on a mission to try to find devices that will help people hear internet radio wherever they are, at a minimum of expense and at a minimum of inconvenience. And we talked before, and I think you've got some answers for us, Morgan.
Yes. So I'm going to start off with some more general answers first, and then we'll go specifically into applications that you're talking about for in the car. So I have two different ones. This cylindrical item is actually a Bluetooth speaker. And so this one's really good because you can hang it up anywhere. It's got its own little D-ring to hang it up. And it's also water resistant, so outside, if it gets rained down, you'll be all right. But while I was waiting, I was actually listening to your show on this. And so I was broadcasting your show using this. And they come in a lot of different sizes and shapes, just depending on how loud you want it to go.
Okay.
But you had talked about specifically in the car.
Yes.
And so if your car doesn't have Bluetooth streaming, which most cars don't, that's the upgraded package to get that, you would have to go through and maybe buy a new stereo system to be able to do that, and that could cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yes. A new radio, I mean, the whole thing, you'd have to get one with the jack, and only certain cars have that jack, that what they call the auxiliary jack.
Yeah, not only
plug
the
a 3.5 in there,
Yeah, or just like Bluetooth in general.
Yes.
So an item like this is something that we were looking at earlier today. This is the Motorola Roadster. This will do a lot of different things. The main things that it will do, especially for what you're talking about on your campaign, is that you can do Bluetooth audio through the speaker. So you could listen to it as just a speaker. But when you have it in your car, it will also allow you to do an FM transmitter. So what that means for you is that if you're in the car, you have your smartphone listening to the application. If it's tied to this, you're now going to be able to hear it over your car speakers in your car. And the good news is that you're still staying safe. You're not going to be getting a ticket.
Yeah.
You're not trying to do the speakerphone in your pocket or maybe tucking the phone on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And if a call comes in, it will stop the stream audio and you'll be able to talk, and then it will jump back onto the stream audio after as well.
Great gizmo, great gizmo. This is really important for, our campaign.
And as part of your campaign, I want to leave this one with you to test it out, to make sure that you love it, that you like it. And you can make sure that it's as safe and as wonderful as I've been telling you.
Nice looking, does exactly what we've been thinking about, and we will report back to you, in a few days, tell you how this helps us.
Yeah, I'm very confident that you're going to like that. The ease of use, the crystal clear sound, and also being able to do your calls on it as well.
Thank you, Morgan. This is a Motorola, incredibly clear, exceptionally smart Motorola Roadster 2.
Yep.
It's got everything. Okay. All
And
right.
then for those that do have the auxiliary jack, we also have a Bluetooth adapter that will work in the auxiliary jack. So we're eliminating the wires and all the confusion that happens with those. So this you plug into your auxiliary jack and then just doing Bluetooth. So it now makes your head unit in your car Bluetooth compatible.
Oh, great! What a great idea that is.
Try that one out as well. Does your car have that auxiliary jack?
No, but I'm going to get a new car. Yeah.
Because of this, you're going to have to get a new car.
Yeah. You understand what this means is that you have your phone, you turn on Bluetooth, and without the technology for the radio to pick up the Bluetooth, you can't pick it up. This allows you to do that. This picks up the Bluetooth.
That's right.
And this transmits the signal into the auxiliary jack, the 3.5 millimeter auxiliary jack in some new cars. So
right.
this is great. You know, these are the kinds of things, exactly what I was talking about. It's not one thing, it's a couple of things, and there are some things that are better than other things, but at the end of the day, we want everybody to be able to listen to all kinds of radio. We think there's so much content out there. We want to give them that. I only wish that we'd get a Bluetooth that would go, you know, like 10 car lengths. So when you turn on the FM, right, everybody in the traffic can hear it.
You'd be broadcasting your own mini show. That's coming. It's coming. With Bluetooth technology, the range is so much further than it was before. You can be 50 feet away from some of these speakers
right?
with your device, and they'll still work. So that's really exciting.
Well, let me say, punctuate this discussion by saying that there are all these fabulous new ideas that you haven't seen before, and they're organized in a way so that if you're interested in a given area of technology, just go to that kiosk, is that the right word for it? The zone.
The zones.
The zone, and you will find what you want. You will find things you never imagined.
Yeah.
So let's see some more.
Well, I like that intro there. We'll go with one that many people never would have imagined. So it looks like a fake plant that you would have, but what this is a moisture sensor. So for those of us who want a green thumb but maybe haven't gotten there yet, this is going to help us out. And so you can use this, you put it in the same pot that you're using to grow a plant or a flower, and it will tell you what the moisture level should be in the soil, and it will notify you when it's time to water it. And so this is really going to help out a lot of people who wanted to get that green thumb, who've been having some challenges. If you're just not too sure, maybe you overwater the plant sometimes or you forget about it, this will keep it Bluetooth enabled as well. It will notify your phone when it's time to water it. And so, I mean, these are great new ideas. It's things like this that make you say, when you ask yourself that question, I wish that my smartphone could do X. If you go into the Verizon store, you most likely will find something that somebody's already thought of it, and they've made it, and they've brought it to market already. So this is one, and another really interesting one is on that side of the table in the green box.
Let's not spring it yet, because I want to take a short break.
Okay.
I want to talk about the rest of them in our next segment. And I also want to talk about this general concept that Verizon's coming up with, as we control a number, 10 devices on your account. Yes. And then you have all this further extension with all these devices. It's like it's the Internet of Things. That's what it is. We had a show about that. Okay, that's Morgan Kapololu. He's the general manager of the Verizon store on Kapiolani and Kemoku, which is the flagship store in this state and maybe the world. We'll be right back after this break.
We want to thank our underwriters.
Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Maui Electric on Maui and Hawaii Electric Light Company on Hawaii Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company.
The High-Tech Development Corporation, the state's leading technology agency, attached to the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism.
Castle and Cook Hawaii, with a time-honored legacy that spans more than 160 years and revolves around its mission of investing in Hawaii, creating communities, and providing for the needs of our state.
Hawaii Gas, formerly the Gas Company, a proponent of the Liquefied Natural Gas Initiative, helping Hawaii achieve its transition to clean energy and a better energy future.
Collateral Analytics, a Hawaii-based tech company empowering the real estate industry with greater and faster access to the tools and data they need to make better informed property investment decisions.
I'm Nicole Hori. Thanks so much for joining us on ThinkTech.
I'm Maria Kashem. See you next time.
We're back, we're live, we're having a great time with Morgan Kapololu. He's the general manager of Verizon store, the flagship Verizon store at Kapiolani and Kemoku, and the one that just did this incredible renovation, redesign, reconceive is what it is. And you're a happy man, and I'm envious of you, Morgan. And he's got these fabulous things. It's the ultimate toy store, you know. Lock me in, I'll stay overnight, maybe a week. Morgan, what else you got to show us?
It would take about that long just to see everything that's in there. We've only brought just a small sample. We're talking about a kids store. So let's talk about, we have, in one of the zones, it's called Have Fun. And so we have adult big toys as well, but we also have toys that are educational. So these will allow you to hook it up to things like an iPad. They can use it. It's made by Crayola, so they can use it to color. There's educational games that are on there. And the good thing about these, I have a niece and a nephew, and they love to draw, they love to stamp. But with these, there'll never be marks on your walls or your couches.
Even though it's Crayola.
Even though it's made by Crayola, it's going to allow it to all be on the tablet, easy to use. And I mean, this really will help for hours of fun and education at the same time. So that's where it's a good balance. It's not just a game where they're sitting there, it's something where they can also learn as well. And then
kids of all ages. Yeah.
Kids of all ages, yeah. I mean, we also have some of those big kid toys as well. We talked about earlier, remote control vehicles, drones with cameras on them.
Well, can we talk about those for a minute?
Sure.
We don't have them here.
No.
But they're a little bigger, but they're amazing. Talk about them.
Yeah, so we have a drone. It has 4 motors on it. And so what that does is it allows it to self-level. And so these are meant for outdoor flying, and you can use it. You can fly up to 150 feet in the air, and you can go for a wide range from where your smartphone is. Again, all of these things that we're looking at are either going to tie in or be controlled by your smartphone. And so I have a co-worker on Kauai when I used to work there who took it out to a park, and he took it up the full 150 feet. Good surveillance for around there. We've had some customers come in for business applications.
Sure.
And so they're
real estate. Yeah.
Real estate, roofing company, property management. My dad on the Big Island thinks that he's a rancher, so that would allow him to kind of hover over and see where
the herd is doing.
How the herd is doing, where
That's
are
great.
they, what are they up to. So there's a lot of practical applications with some of these things that we're looking at as toys as well. If you ever went onto YouTube and you looked for AR drone, which is what it's called, you'll see a lot of videos about how high quality the video is, and all of that's being controlled just from your smartphone.
Boy, I remember when I was a kid, we had balsa gliders, and that was about as far as it went.
With a rubber band? Did you ever put the rubber band?
Get across the room. And then they came up with, these planes. People, make a hobby out of flying planes with little gas engines. But this puts all that into the dust. I remember seeing a drone at the time when the College of Engineering here in Hawaii was trying to develop one, and they had all their students working on this drone. It looked just like yours,
Really?
by the way, just like yours. It was light. It was like a very light foam kind of material, and it had sensors and cameras and radios. It was amazing. And I found one in an airport in the mainland. I couldn't believe that they actually sold them. It was that the science had progressed to that point. It was plenty expensive. But now you can get them right here on Keamoku Street. And you can there's no problem with the FAA because it's low.
Yeah.
You can fly it over your backyard. It's small, it's light, it's not going to do any damage to anything. And it can take pictures in high definition. How about that? This opens new doors for everything. This is like bringing high tech to the ordinary person.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, like what you're saying, a few years ago, that was probably only military technology.
Yeah.
That now it's available to all of us as consumers. And so it's just finding what's out there and what we need to do to fit whatever your application is, and we can probably come up with some solution. So that's the best thing, is go into the store, just tell a little bit about what you're looking for, and we'll most likely be able to find something that could help you out.
So it's more than phones, it's anything that could be controlled by a phone. And,
Or automated.
Yeah, and so, ThinkTech, for example, we make movies for OC16. Wouldn't it be great? When you talk about making movies like Hawaii News Now makes movies about, for example, energy, well, they hire a helicopter. It costs them thousands of dollars. 5.0. Notice how many aerial shots are in 5.0? You don't need any of that now. You get your own fresh video. Okay, sorry, go on.
No, the only last thing that we were going to talk about, and so this is one of the things in a lot of different modes that you can use, is some sort of surveillance. So this one's a baby monitor, and it also has the ability to do a few other things. But we have a lot of different surveillance options, whether it's a camera that you can talk back through, a camera that has archive online. It gives you the access to wherever it is that you set this camera up, so that you can watch what's going on, you can monitor what's happening, and you can have a record of it. The baby monitor really adds in a few other things as well. It can play things like lullabies, it can read stories to your child as well. And so this is what will allow you to help out with some of that separation without actually having to be there. Because you could be in the comfort of your bed saying things to soothe your child while they're still in their cradle, and you're helping with some of those things. But then also just being able to watch how your child's doing, listen in to see if they're sleeping well, are they coughing still. And so, this one, the peace of mind that this gets you, it's just, I can't imagine what it would be like to not be able to have all of that when something's so easy to get.
And all you need is a cell phone to make this work.
All you need is your cell phone. Yeah, with all of these, that's all that you need is your cell phone. And that's really what that smart store is really designed on. The reason it's called a smart store is it's there to show you what else you can do with your smartphone. So above and beyond the traditional text message, phone call, playing Candy Crush or Facebook, those types of things, there's a lot that your phone can do to help you with your different lifestyles.
And all these gizmos that you have, you know, they're good for iPhone. They're good for Android. I mean, it covers the whole gamut.
Yep, compatibility is almost universal now.
Yeah. Well, you know, this actually raises the question for me about that zone. I don't know what zone it was,
Okay.
but it was a zone about home security and all. You had some really great devices there. Home security and watching things and turning lights on and off. And
Yes.
so can you talk about some of those? They're not here, but can you talk about them?
Yeah, so I mean, some of the things that we're referring to is that we have switch capability, meaning you have an adapter that you can plug into an outlet that then allows you to control that outlet from anywhere that your smartphone works.
One outlet, okay?
One outlet. Of course, you could get creative with a surge protector from that outlet. So
Thank you. Yeah.
You could do other options as well.
Yeah.
But even like what we were talking about, you went on a trip. While you're gone, normally you want to have the appearance that somebody's still home.
Yeah.
And so now you can use that outlet and you can create a timer for each day. So it's extremely random.
Yeah.
You know, traditionally you would get one of those pop in and out timers,
Right.
and it would do the same loop every 24 hours.
Right,
No
and
more.
any burglar man outside could figure that out in 20 minutes, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
But now he can't figure it out.
No, it's going to be completely random. I mean, it would take weeks to be able to figure out that was happening. And hopefully you'll be home by then before any of those things happen. At the same time that you're doing that, you can have a camera watching your front door, your garage. It'll notify you when there's motion. You get a text alert, an email alert, whatever you set it up. You can look at the application on your phone, and we even have cameras now where you're able to speak through your phone that will then speak through the camera. And so you can use that for surveillance.
The old thing, I see you.
I see
You're
you.
not supposed to be here. You should leave quietly.
I have called the cops. The
have called
cops
the
are
cops.
on their way. Yeah, those are the famous things that you say through those. And so those will give you more peace of mind, and it really lets you watch what's going on. I mean, we have monitors as far as there's a motion detector as well that can notify you. So there's a lot from home automation, home security that your smartphone can really be your hub for.
You know, we could never actually identify all the things in all the zones. It would take a long time, you know, days. Suffice to say that these items, all extensions of your cell phone, and it's, you know, talk about retail. I mean, what you're doing is you're creating this whole universe of power, of you know, technological power driving off the cell phone. So if you want to sell cell phones, why don't you explain to people, you know, what that universe is? This is a universe in which they can do bloody anything.
Bloody anything, yeah. We forgot about the blood pressure monitors as well.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
The blood pressure monitor, go for it.
Well, other in fitness, you also have health measurements as well. So it goes beyond just calories, but we're talking about glucose measurements, oxygen in your blood, and also just blood pressure in general that you're able to monitor through them as well. So I mean, those 4 zones that we have right now, and that's a great thing is that the
Name them
zones
again,
can
yeah.
change. So we have fitness, home and on the go, amplify it, which is mostly speakers, and then have fun. A lot of the toys that you can control with your devices. And again, that's what we have right now that we're open. I mean, another month or two, it's very likely that those things could change, just depending on what consumers want to be able to see.
Well, you know, one of the issues there is that you have things that are, you know, pretty sophisticated, and they're serious. You know, these are not toys. These are things that Verizon's looked at. These are things that can do remarkable functionality. And so people have got to learn about them.
Right.
And I wonder if you could talk about exactly, you know, how they do that, because you had a classroom there that really impressed me. So part of the mission, and it's always been this way with Verizon, at least at that store, that you go down and you get into a class and you get trained. How does that work?
So the whole store design is really centered on being engaged with the products and making sure that we're finding things that match your lifestyle the best. And so in the very center of the store, once you enter in that door, on the other side, we have a huge touchscreen monitor that we're able to use to customize classes for devices specifically on what you want to learn. So if you want to learn how to send text messages, use social networking, make calendar appointments, we can do that. But then it also gives us the facilities to use so that we can have impromptu classes around any one of the zones as well. And so already starting to make schedules that we'll have at the store, kind of like a gym schedule. You know, you can come in for your class on Tuesday at 3 o'clock to learn how to make your phone more fun, or how to use your phone to do home automation, or how to use your phone to broadcast music better. So we're going to have some of these impromptu classes as well. There are unfortunately times where you go to a Verizon store and you have to wait before you're helped. But we're hoping that these classes and the zones will make that experience that much better, so that as you're waiting, that you get to learn something and that you've had a better experience than you ever did before.
Oh, I think you're going to have a problem with that. You know, I think when people see this show, they're probably watching there now. They're probably getting in their cars.
Right now, they're going down there.
And when they get down there, and they're going to stay there all through Christmas, you'll see what it's going to be a mob scene. So my advice is get down there now before it really gets crowded. You know, I mean, we had a pleasant time this morning. We went and filmed it this morning. We want to make an OC16 show out of it. And it wasn't crowded. I mean, people were, you know, there to help, and we have photographs to prove everything I say. It was quite comfortable.
Yes.
And everybody was being helped. There was no line or anything. So, but I think you may have a problem going forward when they find out about it.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, good problem to have. And this is, you know, it's so different in terms of the style of the store. I mean, before you walked in, and of course they were helpful, but there was a kind of counter experience for you. Now, why don't you take a minute and talk about the counter experience in the new Verizon retail model?
Exactly. So now when you walk in the historic model, the first thing that you would normally see are devices. So if you went to a Verizon store before, it was really focused on getting you into the right device and the right service plan, where now there's so much more that we really need to be able to focus on. And so the counter experience is, I guess, the anti-counter experience. And so you won't see any counters like what we did before. Everything we're able to do now over a mobile point of sale station, so that we're able to have an experience just like this side by side as we look at the different devices. This allows me to get to know you better, to demonstrate what's available, and then also it's opened up a lot more room in the store as well.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons. I mean, today it didn't feel like it was very busy because the store is so open.
It really is open.
It feels good. You want to go around and you want to see the different things that are out there and available, and it allows us now to do that side by side instead of over the counter, where it's kind of anti-experience driven, where now if we're doing it side by side, we're able to have that experience that you're
right,
looking
it's
for.
engagement.
Definitely engagement. That's a good choice of words.
I want to take a short break again. When we come back, I'd like to talk about how you train your staff to know about all these devices, in addition to all the telephones and all the other, you know, strictly Verizon communication devices. We'll be right back. This is ThinkTech Talks. We're here with Morgan Kapololu, who's the general manager of the Verizon store at Keamoku and Kapiolani, the flagship store in the state and maybe the world. I keep expanding that.
The universe, the next one.
The universe. We'll be right back after this break. Aloha, I'm Jay Fidell. This is ThinkTech Hawaii, broadcasting live from the Pioneer Plaza in downtown Honolulu. We raise public awareness about tech, energy, and globalism in Hawaii. Technology is critical to our state. A vibrant tech sector will give us new prospects in the global marketplace and will offer great careers and make our economy more resilient. Streaming live on Ustream and Spreaker, ThinkTech allows its hosts and guests invaluable opportunities to report important events and discuss important questions, and to be heard here in Hawaii and around the world. You can find links to our live streams on thinktechhawaii.com or on our mobile website, m.thinktechhawaii.com. And you can see our archive on YouTube. It's all just a click away. We want to do whatever we can to keep Hawaii relevant, connected, and thriving in the complexity of the 21st century. We hope you will help us in those efforts. Tune in today. This is ThinkTech. I'm Jay Fidell. Mahalo. We're back. We're live. We're at ThinkTech Talks here with Morgan Kapololu. He's the general manager of Verizon store at Keamoku and Kapiolani, right across from Ala Moana Center. And boy, is that going to be an active store going forward. You are going to experience you know, all the thrills and chills of being at the front end.
We are.
You know, everybody's going to come and they're going to want to find stuff, and they're going to hear about stuff, and they're going to want your staff to tell them about how every one of these things, these hundreds and hundreds of devices in the store, how those things work. How do you train a staff to know not only about the phones, and the software on the phones, you know, the inherent software, as well as the apps on the phones, and all the transfer issues about, you know, activating the phones, and then on top of that, all these hundreds of devices. How do you make a staff like that?
So Verizon's great when it comes to training. Verizon consistently ranks in the top 50 Fortune 500 companies for training, and we need to, because things change so quickly. And so as far as knowing the devices, plans, and being able to process orders, we do that through a pretty extensive 3-week training program in the very beginning, followed up with a few subsequent trainings from there.
Is it here? Does it happen here?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah. So I can sign up then?
Unfortunately not.
What?
Once you get employed, once we get you that offer letter.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, come and be a Verizon employee for sure you can. And then that's always supplemented with both in-classroom, online training, and we have weekly staff meetings that we use to keep ourselves fresh on new products and devices. But specifically for the new store design, it's really reinventing the experience that customers have in the store. And so we went through 3 all-day trainings before the store opened, where we brought in other employees to play customers so that we could go through real live role plays.
Give them a hard time.
But a few of them were very good at that. I think they might have had that pent up from previous experiences. And so go through some role plays, go live with some of the devices, and really working on understanding what I need to know about you to be able to show you what the store can really benefit you from. And so getting to know customers better, it's a different experience in general being in this store compared to some of the other stores. And this is really the way that I think that retail in general is going to have to go to be able to keep up with consumers.
Yeah, well, it's competitive. On the other hand, I would say that Verizon has an edge on this already because it has such attractive products and a reputation to boot. But I guess you're talking about the new retail. The new retail is to understand the profile of the customer who walks in the store.
Yes.
And to understand what makes him anxious, what he really wants, where he's worried and frustrated. And he comes in and says, "Oh, it doesn't work. I can't make it work." All that, and deal with that, and try to sedate him and give him the service that he needs. This is not easy. This requires psychology at every level.
So it's not as challenging. It's not just like that. We're not going for sedation. What we're really looking for is we want to get to know what your current situation is. And so when you come in and you're frustrated about something, it's most likely because some expectation that you have hasn't been met. And so we want to find out, what is your expectation? Where is it that you want to be? Where is it that you're now? And many times the solutions that we have in a store are what really let us close the gap. Mm-hmm. Historically, though, we would have those solutions, but we would only be talking about them. We wouldn't have something as visual or hands-on as what we do now in these new stores. And so when Verizon was going through the planning, I know that they brought together leaders in retail, leaders in Verizon management as well, and really looked at what is the retail experience now and how can Verizon be the leader for that retail experience. And the main thing was to focus on customer lifestyles. And so I can't think of another retail outlet that you go in and products and services are organized by lifestyles. A lot of times it's organized by maybe a manufacturer or a device type, but now it's really focused around how it's going to make your smartphone, how it's going to make your life that much better.
This is a whole new thing, isn't it? I mean, talk about psychology. This is like getting into people's lives. It's trying to understand how they spend their time on the planet.
Deep.
And figuring out thing is, to go back for a moment, phones have become, only in the past few years, with the Motorola brick a few years ago, that was not a phone, that was a brick.
It's a self-defense mechanism.
Really. But now, it's just truly amazing what has happened. It's dreams come true. It's happy to be alive in these times. But at the same time, you become dependent, and you need to have the phone do what your vision calls for. And you begin to think that the phone is ubiquitous. It's capable of anything, anywhere. And so, not only the power, but the expectation has exceeded anything in the past. And you are the repository for all of that. You can make lives work and make lives maybe not work. You can create a life for someone, especially people who are innocent about this, that goes way beyond anything they ever dreamed was possible. What I'm saying is you play a larger role in the quality of life of our citizenry than any communications company ever did before. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big responsibility to have, but when you think about it, people are more likely to leave their wallet at home than they would leave their cell phone at home. I mean, with all that
That's
information and all the security that you have in your wallet, people are more likely to leave that behind. But the good thing is that we work for a great company. Verizon has the best, most secure 4G LTE network. And so all of those things that we're talking about that we're going to be doing are going to be done safely, securely. And the other good thing, you're talking about how we can make this better for the community. This smart store that we have is one of only a handful in the entire nation. Verizon has over 1,700 stores nationwide, and we're one of those few in the entire nation that were chosen for this new design.
Why? Why did they choose you guys, Morgan?
Verizon, especially Verizon Hawaii, has been a great proving ground for a lot of the different products and services. We're isolated, it's easy to control, but even more so, they've been able to give us challenges, and Verizon Hawaii has been able to accomplish those, and that's why we've been entrusted with one of these new remodels. While there's a lot of cost that's put behind it, they know that the community and Hawaii is really on the cutting edge of technology, where before you would think of a lot of places along the West Coast. Hawaii is really a place that has some of the highest adoption rates for smartphones, the fastest adoption rate for 4G devices. And so they're seeing that and knowing that Hawaii is a big player in the tech world.
Well, we're going to take a short break. Last one. Then we come back. I like to, go back to the basics and talk about what kind of phones you got these days, and especially that incredible device you showed me this morning that plugs into your car and tells you everything about your car. Okay, We'll be right back. That's Morgan Kapololu. He's the general manager of Verizon, a Verizon store at Keamoku and Kapiolani, the flagship store. This is ThinkTech Talks. I'm Jay Fidell. Stand by. We'll be right back.
Aloha, I'm Nicole Hori for ThinkTech. For nearly half a century, the Hawaii Foreign Trade Zone No. 9 has brought the benefits of the Foreign Trade Zone program to Hawaii businesses and entrepreneurs. DBET, the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, operates Hawaii's Foreign Trade Zone program to encourage international business and economic development. The Foreign Trade Zone's mission is to increase the amount of international trading activity in Hawaii, thereby providing employment opportunities for the residents of our island state. For more information, see ftz9.org. I'm Nicole Hori. Mahalo.
We're back. We're live. I'm Jay Fidell here with Morgan Kapololu. He's the general manager of the Verizon store at Keamoku and Kapiolani, right across from Ala Moana Center, which is really a gangbuster store. It's the flagship for the city and the state, and maybe beyond that, surely beyond that. So, when you get down to it, this is all driven, your new retail model is all driven over the central, the central product, which is the cell phone. And the pad, the iPad or whatever pad it is, the tablet.
Tablets, yes.
Tablet. Okay, and we would be remiss if we did not ask you to describe the latest and greatest of what you've got, including but not limited to that device you showed me that plugs into the car and reads the way the car is operating. I'd like to know about that first.
That's how it has it written in the manual too, is with those the hand signals. So what we talked about earlier was controlling 10 devices. And so on our new Share Everything plans, Verizon realizes that more and more people are not just going to have phones on their accounts, but they're going to have many different data connections as well. And so on our current plans, you can have up to 10 devices. So those are phones, tablets, mobile jetpack, home phone service. We can replace your home phone service and save money, as well as some of these new things, a new market that's called connected devices. And so the two things that we looked at that were connected devices.
And you've never seen these before.
You've never seen them.
These are brand new. They're dynamite.
Delphi Connect is the name of the first one. And so it plugs into your car's diagnostic spot underneath the wheel, and it sends out any codes that it gets for errors, but more importantly, especially for parents of new drivers or even business owners that have a fleet, they can do GPS location, as well as you can set up fences. A geofence is an area that you create electronically that you want your device to stay in. If it exits that area, you can be notified. And then you can also set speed limits as well. So if the vehicle exceeds a certain speed, that you'll be notified as well. And then just like what you were saying
It's a
earlier,
little scary.
it's a little scary, but like what you were talking about earlier, you could also go the other route and say that this vehicle has been in the McDonald's parking lot for the last 3 hours. Why is it not doing its route?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What kind of a
exactly.
fleet is that?
And so those types of connected devices that allow you to do these new things are part of that 10 lines that you can have.
Yeah.
And that's why Verizon's opened it up from the historical 5 lines that you could have before to 10, because we know that you're going to want to have a tablet for every single one of your children. You're going to want to have mobile internet. You're going to want to have these things, and Verizon wants to be able to provide that for you.
Let's dwell on that for a minute. I mean, that is really, to me, revolutionary, because people are getting more than one item. They're getting many peripherals in their home, in their family, and this sounds fabulous. So I don't have to get a separate account for every item now.
No.
I can use my account for, up to 10 items. That's
right.
a lot of items. And this saves me money because I'm only paying for one account.
That's right.
Wow.
And it makes it a lot easier for you to manage as well. So you don't have to worry about this bucket, that bucket,
Yeah.
data overage is here, but under over there.
Yeah.
It's just one bucket that you can share across 10 different devices.
Yeah.
And we have plans that can accommodate just practically anybody's usage.
This is really a natural progression of where it should go.
Yeah, Verizon's getting it set now so that as we continue to adopt these new products and services, that the back end is already there to go.
So you got this on the outside, you got that on the inside. Does anybody else have this 10-way service?
Verizon was the first one, but with the cell phone industry, it's very competitive.
Oh, sure.
And so we're not the only ones now.
Copy it tomorrow as soon as they can. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, to be able to do sharing across multiple devices for data, it should become a market standard, but there's still a few that haven't. It took a lot of back-end work to do.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. It's very attractive, especially in a family, or a small company for that matter. So what about this camera you showed me right next to that car device? There was a camera device that sent the pictures back real time. I really like that one.
Yeah, so the Samsung Galaxy camera, it's another connected device. And again, the good thing about those is that on your plan, they have the lowest add-on cost. And so it makes it very inexpensive. But with any of the pictures that people take, the first thing that they want to do is share them. And so with this having a built-in internet connection, you're able to share it right from the device. And you can use that device to browse the internet, to check on updates. So there's a lot of functionality in those devices. And even the devices that we're known for. So I mean, we have tablets. Verizon now has the largest lineup of different tablets that are available, and all backed by our 4GE network.
Apple, Samsung, everything.
Everything, yeah. We even have Verizon exclusives. And then so we have some Black Friday sales. We're on a 2-year contract. You can get a tablet for free. And so, I mean, there's a lot of choices, a lot of flexibility. Regardless of what your budget is, there's a tablet that's going to meet that. And tablets really now are powerful enough to replace computers. And so, I mean, in the next few years, that's what you're going to see is almost every computer being replaced with a tablet.
Well, a query. I mean, these devices, either that Samsung camera you mentioned that sends it back, or the tablets, is it possible to do with these devices, short of a computer, real-time video, transmission, like for ThinkTech, for example? So I'm on the spot. I want to take a picture right away. I can do this with my cell, which is in my other pocket. I still have it. I didn't lose it. But is it possible? What do I need to do real-time, a transmission of video, say to Ustream?
So Verizon's already had the capability to do that. The data connection and video quality that you get will be nothing similar to what you have going on right now. But Verizon also does, through our corporate business partners, have like backpack or briefcase style setups.
You have that?
We have that ability.
Oh,
yeah,
that's remarkable.
We have to set up an appointment for you.
Yes, I want to talk to you about that.
You can take your camera, and from any remote site that you'd be able to hook it in and be able to upload live on outer islands. So when I was working in Kauai, we were working with a local business there, and that was one of their things, was to do live local sports. And so we were able to find a solution for them so that they could do it out at the stadium, wherever it was.
Okay, we're going to stop talking about that because it's giving me palpitations. And also I worry about some of my competitors finding out.
Oh, no. It's only for ThinkTech.
Okay, so now I'd like to talk about the power of these phones. You're going to drive all these apps that are happening. And, every time you turn around, there's another 27 apps that are worth having. And then you have these devices that is a whole new generation of devices. So the phones have got to be a good platform. What's the specs on these new phones that are out there, both the iPhone and the Android. I mean, how powerful are they in terms of, this new functionality?
The power is really hard to describe without getting it in your hands and really doing some of the things that are important to you. But I mean, if we were just to talk about specifications, the iPhone now has architecture in its processor that's similar to what you have on your desktop. So it's desktop architecture in the palm of your hands. We have phones that have cameras that can shoot above HD now. So they're shooting at 4000K, which means things to people in the camera world. So I mean, just some of those abilities, higher resolution screens than what your eye can actually detect. These are powerful devices in the palm of your hands, and it's mostly been due to the ability for processing companies, screen companies to be able to shrink that technology into handheld sizes. So, I mean, what we have in our hand today would have taken up an entire room 20 years ago. And so it's because that technology has advanced. And the phones advance so quickly that sometimes a 2-year contract is too long for customers to wait.
Yeah, how's that changing now?
So Verizon now has a program, it's called Verizon Edge, where you're able to get a new device every year. You get the device, you do small installment payments. After you've had that phone for 12 months, you can bring it into your Verizon store, trade it in, and get a new device. Because most devices, these flagship devices, they get updated every year.
Yeah, and you want the latest and greatest.
You want the latest and greatest. You don't want to be tied down into a 2-year contract. So for anybody that's interested in getting devices more often than that traditional 2-year contract, Verizon Edge is the answer.
Big question, Morgan. Suppose I have a contract already.
Yes.
Can I migrate it in? Can I change it into Edge?
You asked that question at a perfect time. Verizon's doing an early upgrade program. As long as you've had your phone for 1 year, your phone's in good condition, take it into your local Verizon store and they'll be able to create a solution for you.
I am having palpitations. I mean, wow. I mean, you can't top that. What a great show this has been. This is, this is my personal Christmas. Thank you, Morgan. That's Morgan Kapololu. He's the manager of the Verizon store, the flagship at Keamoku in Kapiolani. We are so happy that we met him this morning, took a walk around, took some footage. We'll make an OC16 show of that and this, and we will enjoy doing it. I must say that I am so glad I have Verizon. Ed White, I don't know.
Yes.
Ed White is my buddy, and I feel that I'm in the right place, and you're in the right place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. Aloha.